Welcome. We are James and Severin Garrett, farmers in the Elkin, North Carolina area, and we try to create a monthly farmers call for individuals who are currently running a farm of at least 10 towers or more with our nutrient dosing system. Our goal is always to create value for you guys, and today's call is all about creating additional income for your farm. Some of you are just getting started, and this will be lessons learned for the future, and some of you are in the midst of it now, and you can implement some of these things today if you want to. We've got a really small agenda today. Let me see if I can pull that up. Okay, first of all, we're going to talk about the product OrganiShield. James has been using this for a while. We introduced it to you guys about 3 months ago. And I just want him, because we've gotten several questions, I want him to give a quick overview of our experience with OrganiShield and how we're using it.
Yeah, so I'm just going to be really brief on this. We've had a lot of information we've put out there, but bottom line, I've been using this since May. I'm using this 100% as a preventative measure. So this is not about, oh, I've got aphids, I'm going to start using OrganiShield. The idea is I'm using OrganiShield and I don't have aphids, I don't have moths and caterpillars in the summertime. And what I'm experiencing, which is a biggest one for me, is probably an 80% reduction in powdery mildew. We can talk offline about this, but I just wanted to kind of give you an update. I think there's more information going to be coming out. The company OrganiShield is talking with Tower Garden, so there's a lot going on. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue to use it. And I think for you guys, maybe not so much you indoor farmers, but more you greenhouse farmers or outdoor farmers, we highly recommend this. I think this is a game changer, absolutely, because I have now gone through the equivalent of 2 seasons and the 2 seasons that give me the most trouble. And I'm, again, highly recommend it. And if you want to learn more, if you didn't see the first call or you want to just talk more about this, just give me a call offline and I'll fill you in. But bottom line, pay attention to this. I think it is well worth the investment, which is not a very big investment either.
We recorded a call, I think it was about 2 months ago, and the head of OrganiShield shares the organic certification, all the details. If you're a science guy, you can just reach out to me and I'll send you the recording. And he also offered to send all of our farmers who requested it a free sample kit. So again, if you have not gotten that, reach out to me and I will connect you with David, who is our contact at OrganiShield. A couple of other housekeeping items before we jump into the content. We have created a newsletter that comes out once a month. And when I say we, this is Tower Farms. And that should be coming to your inbox. We got one about a week ago. And they're going to start sharing with us, I guess, insights on new farms that are being installed. They're also going to share with us some helpful tips and practices. And this is going to be a monthly newsletter. So if you did not receive the Tower Farm Insights monthly newsletter, reach out to me and I'll be sure that you get added to the email list. You're going to hear from Brett Boland in just a second. He's from our Tower Farm corporate team. And they tried to pull at least one email address from every Tower Farm order, when you ordered your farm, and add that to our list. But we may have missed a few. So I want to be sure that you're getting that. Final housekeeping item, we have the brand new towerfarms.com website for supply orders. If you recall, in the past, we had to fill out an Excel spreadsheet. I need some rock wool. I need some dry minerals. And it was a 2 or 3 day process to get your taxes calculated, your freight, and credit card. Now it's all online for us. We placed an order a week or so ago. Literally, I went online. I said, need 2 boxes of rock wool, typed in my credit card shipping address, and it was there in 2 days. And it's all taken care of very quickly. So when you need to place supply orders, you're going to use towerfarms.com website. And so if you need, again, additional information, reach out to me or Brett Bolin that you're going to hear from here in a few minutes, and we'll help walk you through it. Okay, today the topic at hand is all about additional income for your farm. I think we all enjoy growing produce. You can see these are some of our towers, and selling that, if your market is restaurants, our market includes hospitals, individuals. I think that's a big part of our business, but most of us are also looking for additional revenue streams. So in the past, we talked about microgreens. We had Matt, our microgreen specialist, share about how he's created a pretty significant income from microgreens. And we can connect you with Matt if you want to get some training. We also had Ashley Richardson share, she's out of Virginia, about how she's created a school to farm, or is it farm to school?
Farm to school.
Farm to school program. And so she's connected with her local school districts, and she is delivering to the cafeterias at her middle schools. And she's created an additional income stream that's quite significant from that farm to school program. That's a USDA program, and it's quite significant in its impact to the community, but also to the bottom line of her farm. But tonight, or this afternoon, we're going to be talking about another way to create additional income. And I want to start out by you learning a little bit from Brett Bolin, our Tower Farm corporate contact, on the future of farming in this particular aeroponic vertical system. The reason why we're setting it up this way is we're wanting to help you generate leads to Tower Farms of people that come to visit your farm, and they're interested in maybe doing the same thing in their community or on a smaller scale at a nonprofit. There's lots of different ideas. But before we jump into the leads program, which is additional income for your farm, I want Brett Bolin, who many of you have met because he's joined us for previous calls, to talk a little bit about the industry trends, the growth of Tower Farms, and a little bit of an overview about the lead program. Brett, would you mind doing that for us?
I'll be glad to. Good to see you, and great to have all of you on the call. First of all, hats off, Severin and James. Y'all just done a wonderful job of building community with this group of farmers, and the group's getting bigger, and it's really good to see. So there is a lot of value in farmers getting together and talking and sharing ideas and helping each other out. So it's cool to see that. Severin wanted me to address a couple of things that you can see there. First of all, growth of Tower Farms. From a business standpoint, Tower Farms has been experiencing and enjoying double-digit growth every year. And that's been through COVID, that's been through, the recession on and off over the last few years, what's going on day to day in the economy. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. And I think the primary one for us is that we have just been very steady at sharing through basically the showcase that every farm is, just sharing a really solid core technology that works. And I think that's probably one of the primary things it's just the product's beginning to mature in the market. A lot of markets now worldwide know about vertical farming, they know about vertical aeroponics, and they know about Tower Farms and Tower Garden as a brand. So some of that growth is based just on maturity in the market. And I think we also have to be real and say a lot of the brand recognition out there, which results in sales and growth, is also due to the efforts of all of our farmers in their communities, whether it's through social media, through their closer person-to-person network, whether it's through other forms of media that share what they're doing. So that message gets out there that there are ways to solve this big problem of getting quality food into communities in an efficient way. We have to also recognize the efforts. There's a few out there that have really hit social media hard on a sustained basis over time. And that also brings a lot of attention, not just to the market and to the segment of the market that we're in, which is vertical growing, but to the brand particularly. So we are enjoying that growth, and all of it one way or another, all of it's really based on the efforts of our farmers out there, farmers like you that are doing what they're doing. From an industry standpoint, Severin asked me to address that. That's a long topic. That's a two-beer topic, as they say. But I think I can sum it up in pretty quickly here by saying that the industry as a whole, whether you want to call urban agriculture or non-traditional agriculture or indoor growing, CEA growing, all of those phrases that kind of all fit together. As a whole, that industry is somewhat volatile, and it goes through its ups and downs. And I mention that because the part of the industry that goes by the model of raising huge sums of money, pouring money into expensive people, so to speak, engineers, designers, and others, pushing the technology envelope, and finding ways to do large-scale farms near urban areas. That model has really gone through some ups and downs. And I'm telling you that because there's a lot of good news in this for us and the part of the market we're in. We're really not in that part of the market. We're in the local, hyper-local, connect with community type market. And most of our farms, as you know, are smaller. We're talking people like Gotham Greens and Bowery, and these places are raising $30 million, $150 million. They're paying all these people just piles and piles of money, and they're not, over a period of time, they're really not making much money. And I think a lot of it is there's some degree of trying to put a square peg in a round hole. And what I mean by that is the very concept of growing food like we grow food is keeping it close to the consumer, connected to the community, usually a high level of fulfillment or satisfaction, sustainability, resilience, all those words you hear in these kind of farms and our kind of farms. And our technology lends itself, it seems to fit better and lend itself better into serving the community in that way. And so you can find articles out. The reason I bring this up is you can find articles out there that say, well, Plenty or Gotham Greens or Bowery, one of these other massive companies, they just had to make another capital call or raising another 50 million, or they're doing this, or they closed the doors even. I think they're banging the head against the wrong wall. I mean, I think they're fighting really hard, again, to force a square peg into a round hole. The bigger you build a farm, the further the food has to go. And so it fundamentally defeats a lot of the purpose of smaller farms, which is where we live. So I think that it's really interesting if you do some reading. If you don't know about it, you should go onto Facebook, go to Tower Farmers Forum, if you want to find that group, and just request to join if you haven't already, and we'll let you in. It's a private group. And I posted an article I ran in 2 months ago that's an interesting read. And almost any article I find like this that are industry trade association oriented articles, there's good news in there for us and for our type technology. So the other thing I want to say on that is back to the idea of core technology. You can start with sound technology, which is what we have. We have a patented product that just seems to hit a real sweet spot in commercial food production. And you can work with that, and you can add to it. You can add technology, tools, and resources to it. You can record data. You can keep it simple. You can make it more complex, but your core technology you started with is really strong. Whereas many of the larger scale farms out there and these high-tech, super high-tech farms out there, they're working with a core technology is not very sound. And so they can build around that and build onto that all they want, but you can only force so much horsepower out of that engine because it's only so good. And so I think that's a real difference out there. And a lot of that is my opinion. A lot of that is just what you see reading what's going on in the industry. So I'll stop there just by saying that I think Tower Farms, the technology we have, what we have coming up in the future is really, really strong. It's been proven out now. We're approaching 20 years of having towers in commercial production. So we know what it'll do. And we know that it can be successful if you just build a good business plan around it.
Excellent. Thank you, Brett. We always appreciate your high level review of what's happening with Tower Farms and with the industry. So thank you. Would you talk just a little bit about the LEAD program before I go into detail on what that looks like?
Yep, sure. I already alluded to it, but most of the leads for new farm prospects come from your efforts out there. They come from showcase farms, from people seeing what we're doing, from social media. And so we years ago recognized that, and we want to incentivize that. We want to incentivize the lead generators. And so in simplest terms, if you're speaking with somebody, they, as Severin said, they visit your farm, or if they find you, however they find you, if they're interested in doing what you do, all you need to do is she's going to show you the form and everything. You just need to turn that lead in to us at the home office at towerfarms.com. Make reference to who it is you're talking to, their contact information, and we assign those leads to an ACR. In this case, obviously, it would be to Severin and to James. And they work with that customer. And when that farm sale is completed, you earn a 10% lead commission on the value of the tower portion of the farm. And so it can be quite significant. You know, if you're turning in leads over time, you kind of fill the pipeline a little bit over time. And, you know, for example, our average size farm is 20 to 30 towers, and that can mean anywhere from $1,200 to $1,800, $2,000 lead commission just for turning in the lead. So that lead program is simply an incentive to the people who generate the most leads out there.
Thank you, Brett. I really appreciate you going over that. Let's go a little bit deeper, guys. I'm going to show you, as Brett mentioned, it's a little bit hard to see. On the right-hand side of the screen is the lead form. I'll send that out to all of you. It's a PDF document. But, you know, it's really very simple. It's the name of the prospect, you know, contact information, a little bit about what they're interested in. And you don't have to spend an hour filling this out. Brett's good with the, you know, the basics here and the date that you spoke to them, a little bit about them. But when you have someone visit your farm, or, you know, you're at a trade show and so you show someone a photo of your farm. I mean, we meet people all over the place, restaurants. We were eating out in Winston-Salem last week, and we showed a chef a picture of our farm. And he could have easily said, you know, we may want to do that in our area. And that would be great. We're not in competition. They're an hour away. We'd love to help them do that. So if that was the case, literally all I do is come back and fill out, you know, the chef's name, the restaurant name, phone number, and email. And I send that over to Brett, as he mentioned, towerfarms.com, and I copy us, James and Severin. And, you know, I do that as soon as I get the contact information. So it's super simple for me to just actually even connect a business card if I wanted to on this document. So the why is that we want to help other people do what we do. This is a fascinating industry. People want to have an impact in their community. They want to grow great food. Why wouldn't we help other people do it? When is immediately after you meet them, just fill out the form and send it in. Takes 2 seconds. How do you do it? I just explained it. I mean, it's a document that you can handwrite and send a photo to, you know, towerfarms.com, which is Brett's email address for this particular lead form. And then bottom line, this is adding 10% revenue back to your farm with you spending 5 minutes to fill out a lead form, or a lead form, sorry. And, you know, I think what we have seen is that if you just are real generous in sharing with people what you do, that people are going to immediately be interested anyway. So it's not like you're having to sell them on, you know, don't you want to learn more about Tower Farms? They see it and they quickly want to go learn more. And sometimes it's going to be someone that says, oh, I'm connected to a nonprofit. I'm on the board. And you said, great, can I have a more experienced farmer reach out to you and see if they can share some information, see if you might be interested in learning more. So that it's as simple as kind of a smooth transition handshake, if you will. And then finally, as Brett mentioned, 25 Tower Farm is about a $1,500 payback for you to take 5 minutes to fill out that information. 50 Towers is a $3,000 payback for you approximately. So it really is an easy way for you to add more income to the bottom line, but more importantly, to help people grow food. I think most of us are passionate about growing food and helping our communities. And, you know, all the years that we've been doing this, which is only 5 now, we've never run into anybody that's actually going to be a competitor to us, you know? We've talked to people that are within 20 or 30 minutes of us, and they've looked at having farms. But I think the more the merrier. I think the more we can, you know, help people get great food, the better off we're all going to be. So, did you want to add anything to it?
Well, only, to me, this comes naturally because I will talk to anybody, anywhere, at any time. And I think you will know that I'm pretty passionate about Tower Gardens, but it's a very simple introduction to something. And, you've all got a cell phone. You can all have some pictures on your phone of Tower Farm. You could have a picture of ours or your own or whatever, it doesn't matter. But it's so simple, and nothing's, they say a picture speaks 1,000 words. A picture of our farm has taken us a long way, and it may be as simple as selling just a few towers or one tower, but it could also lead into something that's much bigger. We've experienced it. We've done that ourselves. We've created our own leads, if you like, just by being out there and willing to talk to anybody that may have any interest. And this is not about farmers. This could be any sort of group of people. Like Severin said, we were at a restaurant and we spoke to the chef. The guy was fascinated. He's like, are you telling me that I could get this kind of lettuce, this kind of produce, 12 months of the year, this fresh, this nutritionally dense? And we'd never heard of it. So right there, you've got a lead. Now, it may come to nothing, but as we know, the more spaghetti we throw at a wall, the more chances it's going to stick. So I would just say, do not be shy of sharing about this. And I look for opportunities. I don't care where I go, any place I go, we could be traveling. It doesn't matter. Every time I look at something with the view of, could they put Tower Gardens here? Could this help their business? Could this help them? And in turn, does this help us? And so, yeah, I would say open up and be free to share.
So last slide for you all is just thinking through who's coming to visit your farm, who's curious to learn more because they saw you post on social media or you ran into them at church. This is Suzanne and Leon. They're both on the call today. They're at a pretty fantastic garden design firm in Charlotte, and they're working to help nonprofits and school systems get set up with towers. So they happen to be, guests at our farm, and we got to talking about all the things that they could possibly do in the future. So I think it will happen naturally when people come to your farm, but if you're not up and running yet, you can still talk about it, as James mentioned, with almost anybody. And, some of the things that people will say is, well, maybe I could do this for my school, or maybe I could do this at my church. We have a food closet. Or the last statement there, I'd like to create a farm like yours in my community. So people will naturally tell you that they're interested. It's all about you taking the time to get their contact info and say to them, I'm going to have an experienced farmer reach out to you. I'm happy to stay involved, but for the most part, I'm going to let them lead you in this process because this is what they do. The last thing that we have is a time for questions, and we've done great in terms of using our time. It's only 4:30. So I'm going to stop sharing and open up the line for any questions. Let me see if I can turn off this recording for us too, just so that we're more comfortable.